Welcome back to BEW Live. Thank you so much for joining us. Right now we're going to discuss some tariffs and small business, and I'm joined by Lindsey Carmichael. Lindsey, will you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and your business?
Yes, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's always exciting to be able to participate at Boise Entrepreneur Week. My name is Lindsey, like Thea mentioned. I am the founder of Soleni Shoes. I started my journey a little over probably 5-6 years ago. And as a lot of entrepreneurs will explain, it's been a struggle with a lot going on. I started just before the pandemic, and it took longer for me to get to market. I ended up making it through the pandemic and switching manufacturing countries. And now we're here to talk about tariffs, which have significantly affected my small business. Outside of Soleni Shoes, I also still work full-time as an orthopedic physician assistant here in the Treasure Valley, so life is very, very busy for me. But I'm always happy to find time to participate in programs like this.
Yes, and I love that. It's your insight's so valuable and that lived experience. It's so unique, but it also transcends, like you said, many experiences of entrepreneurs everywhere. So tell us a little bit about the product, the shoes. You shared too that you switched manufacturing countries, and so, you know, as a small business, how did you navigate that? What prompted the move? And yeah, just a little bit about all that.
Yeah, so I jumped into entrepreneurship really not having any idea what I was doing. I had an idea, I had orthopedic medicine experience, and my experience as an orthopedic physician assistant and treating probably thousands of women here in the Treasure Valley with just sort of bread and butter orthopedic complaints, whether it's knee pain, hip pain, foot pain, and a common theme came out, and I myself experienced it as well, is that we were all really tired of wearing ugly, boxy, you know, orthopedic shoes that are functional for our lives as real estate agents and business owners and moms and just busy women in general. So I came up with the idea, and I knew the basic ortho technology that I needed in my footbed, and so we designed a contoured footbed that helps alleviate pain from things like plantar fasciitis and heel pain and bunions and things like that, and decided to make a flashier, more aesthetically pleasing, what I like to call Ortho-Chic design, which is a big need for women. We're tired of the ugly, boxy orthopedic shoes. So I started my journey in Mexico. I ended up, you know, they tell you in entrepreneurship, if you don't know what you're doing, you find someone that does. And so I made some different connections in the footwear development field and started in Mexico. And that turned out to just not be a good fit for the technology that I needed. So I navigated a switch to China, which I had the quality that I needed and the technology and all of those things that I couldn't quite find for the type of specialty shoes that are made in Mexico. China was just a much better fit for me. And when you don't really know what you're doing, you make lots of mistakes and you learn along the way. Some of those mistakes cost a lot of money, and some you just end up in a better spot. So I got to market almost 2 years ago now, and so far things have been pretty good. I'm very much bootstrapping this startup. I did raise a small friends and family round of funding, but I'm still, you know, working full-time and sort of bootstrapping a lot of what I'm doing now, which is kind of where tariffs have made a big impact into my business.
Yeah, you're already running the business and doing the day-to-day. You have your normal 9-to-5 job, and then Soleni Shoes.
Soleni Shoes,
I knew I was
yes.
going to get that wrong.
That's okay.
Yeah, so the migration to China for your manufacturer, how was it sourcing, I guess, a manufacturer out there? How did you go about that process?
Yeah, footwear development is actually quite a small world. I'm originally from Oregon, and I am well connected to Portland, Oregon. I have family over there, and that's actually a huge hub for footwear development. You know, some of the huge development companies, like global companies like Nike and Adidas, world campuses are there. So there's a lot of footwear development there. So I was able to reconnect with a developer who actually has employees of his business over in Hong Kong and in southern China, which is a huge manufacturing hubbub for footwear. Mm-hmm. So we shifted. I did really have to start over. So all of the tooling, lasts and steel molds and all of these things, and sourcing new materials and stuff. So I really did have to start all the way over. But overall, the quality and my experience has been what I'm looking for. So it still has its challenges. Everything is overseas, so there's lots of samples going back and forth for fit testing and things like that. But so far, like, this has been working very well for my company.
And so when tariffs came about, what has that experience been like for you, for your product? How are you communicating with customers and kind of rolling this out?
Yes, so I have so far made 2 big purchase orders. It's a big chunk of change usually because factories have minimums. And so the tariffs actually hit when I had product on the water. And everything with international manufacturing is never really on time. Everything is delayed. So I got hit with 2 unsuspected tariffs because of delays in the vessel. My container would be on the vessel, but they hadn't left. And then once they landed in port here in the United States, the vessel sat for 3 days, and then I got hit with some more tariffs. So it makes it really hard to financially plan and make any financial projections. And my husband and I emptied our bank accounts to get that last shipment through customs. So the good thing is I got them landed before the 145% tariffs hit, because I probably would have lost that product. But the bad thing is, we lost a lot of money with these unsuspecting terms that we weren't sure were going to happen. So I think my perspective has changed a little bit. I have been less focused on progressing to new styles and things like that, and just this year just kind of sitting back and waiting to see what's going to happen next, because I think the uncertainty has been the most frustrating. And I'm just really focusing on selling the inventory, because now I have a lot of inventory, and marketing the brand and just kind of getting the word out there.
Yeah, so if I'm hearing correctly too, it kind of, the tariffs stifle innovation a little bit and just, new developments and things like that.
Yes, definitely.
Yes.
I have a pair of, I've been wanting to expand in styles. We started a sandal development, and then I have what's called a confirmation sample of a short boot for the fall and winter, but I haven't been able to move forward with that because of the uncertainty of things. I did consider moving again to another country. I was considering Italy, but again, the uncertainty of just when and where tariffs, it just seems, I don't want to use the word disorganized, but just uncertain as to, I don't want to invest in a whole bunch of new tooling and move all of my manufacturing and then end up with high tariffs in that country. So I'm just sort of sitting back and waiting to see what will happen.
And then as you're, exploring other countries for manufacturing, we have, the onshoring and Made in America initiatives going on. Why not bring that production here to the U.S.? What would that look like for a small business like yours?
Yes, that is a great question. The infrastructure just simply does not exist here to make footwear. And most, if not all, of the raw materials exist overseas in China. So we would be paying for tariffs to import raw materials to then make the tooling, set up the infrastructure and the manufacturing. And that, I think there have been projections that would cost billions of dollars just in my specific, footwear industry. There are some other smaller shoe brands that have been around for years and have the infrastructure set up. I think Red Wings and a few other companies do manufacture here, but they have all of the infrastructure and all of their tooling and all of that stuff is already here. And the cost of goods to make steel molds, importing all of that stuff is just far outreaching what my little small startup can do. And also, we don't have the workforce, so there's already lots of open manufacturing positions and the skilled labor. So me being just a little guy in a huge footwear space, it just isn't going to happen for me. And I have read some other articles about other, massive corporations like Nike, and I think there's a reason why they don't move here, and the numbers just don't make sense to do that.
So even if you were to onshore, you're not escaping tariffs. You still have tariff.
Correct.
Materials that.
And the cost of labor is, the cost of living and the cost of labor is much higher here. So really I would have to increase my prices just to make a more expensive product. for a
And that
shoe.
may move you into a whole different target market and demographic.
Totally.
Wow.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. It's a very multifaceted issue.
Yes. Lots of layers, lots of understanding of where a lot of these materials come from, how they're made. We talk a lot, Boise is a big tech place. We talk a lot about skilled labor and making technical components. Maybe a little less technical for footwear, but still we need skilled labor to get the job done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, what advice would you have for other companies, maybe not specific to the footwear industry, but just in that same manufacturing tariff space as they're kind of navigating the just unknown?
Yeah. I think there are a lot of people willing to give their opinion. And I think as an entrepreneur and a founder, it's really your job to kind of learn how to navigate it yourself, and learning to trust some opinions and not trust others, because I don't know that everyone gives their opinion based on their experience, and they may not have your specific experience in whatever niche you're in. And also learning to do what's right for you and your company. My life has changed quite drastically in my day-to-day since the tariffs hit. I've had to, I was using a third-party fulfillment company here in Boise, and my husband and I had to go and just nab all of our inventory, and now it's in a pods container and my garage and another manufacturing area, and I'm doing the day-to-day fulfillment, which has taken a lot of my time, but I did that to save money. And that was the right decision for my business at the time. But there, are a lot of different options, that places like Boise Entrepreneur Week can provide for people, like more lending and loans. And I didn't feel like that was right for my business at this time, so I just made some changes in my day-to-day operations to try to make it work. But I think the overall messaging is that you have to be flexible, and sometimes, not making crazy decisions when crazy things happen in the world is the right thing, just to sit on it and maybe sit back and wait to see what's right for your company.
I think the watch and wait approach is paramount right now. Things are changing so rapidly.
Yes.
I mean, in the tariff space and small business, but then also in technology and developments there. And so it can be hard to make costly decisions.
Yes.
And dangerous to do so as well, especially for the small businesses.
Yeah. I think it's okay to vet your options and crunch numbers and see what might work. But for me, the uncertainty is why I chose the watch and wait. I could go to another country, I could go to Vietnam, I could go to Italy, but the uncertainty is still going to be there in all of those countries.
So as you're looking towards the future and other areas for manufacturing that might be viable, what are you kind of looking for to support a next step or decision?
Quality is a big thing in my company for manufacturing of shoes. If you're promoting a product, you want that to be the best quality of product. My price range for my shoes is in the 200s, and so you want to make sure that people that are going to spend that amount of money are going to get a good quality product. That's probably the best I got for that one.
I love that. Oh, one thing I wanted to touch on, you mentioned that you had participated in Boise Entrepreneur Week in the past.
Yes.
So as an alumni, I would love to hear a little bit about that experience and how it played into where you're at today.
Yes. I had a wonderful experience pitching at Boise Entrepreneur Week. It was incredibly challenging, lots of practice to dial in your speech. I think it gave me a lot of confidence. They talk about as an entrepreneur, whatever that's called, where you feel like you're not quite worthy
like
of what you're doing.
Syndrome?
Yes, imposter syndrome.
Yes.
I feel like I have a pretty good presence on stage, but sometimes you just aren't quite sure, whether it's not sure of your product that you're, selling or representing or whatever, but it gave me a ton of confidence, which was really important. And another thing I want to mention is I have a daughter who's in 4th grade. I actually named the company after her, which is really cool because she's really proud of that. She tells her friends, but for her to see her mom get up and take these risks and speak in front of a whole bunch of people that's live on TV, it's really empowering for her, and I think that's really cool, and that's also something that I'm very proud of, is to be a role model for her. So
I love that. Yeah, and stewarding that confidence.
yes, absolutely.
Yes. Oh, what a gift.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and
Thanks for having me.
yes, I think it's such an important conversation, and that hopefully things will settle and you will have clarity and be able to
Yes.
move forward in the ways that your small business needs.
Absolutely. Thanks so
yes.
much for having me.
You're welcome. Well, thanks for watching. We'll be right back, but first, a word from our sponsors.